Hi, guys. So I'm hoping that you guys are having a good day today. I am sorry I'm not there with you today, but I will be back with you hopefully tomorrow. So this is the part two of the test that you guys are working on right now with Mrs. Delaney. I'm going to read through it. You can pause and unpause when you need to, and we'll go from there. Okay. This is Fulton's Triumph. A nervous crowd moved about on a dock on the East River in New York City on August 17th, 1807. Robert Fulton was set to make a journey up the Hudson River to Albany, and had chosen several brave friends to go with him. It would be the first trip of its kind on a boat powered by a steam engine. Widespread doubt. When the boat was being built, Fulton often noticed people making fun of it and joking about it. The boat was big, about 150 feet long, and it didn't look like other ships of the time. It was only 13 feet wide and it had just one small sail and a flat bottom. A large paddle wheel stuck out on both sides, and people thought it was misnamed the North River and should have been called Fulton's Folly because it was foolish. When it was time to begin the trip, Fulton's friends looked worried. Things did not get better when the North River stopped moving only a short way from the dock. Some of the passengers grumbled and wished they had not come. Adjustments. Fulton was not able to fix the problem with the minor adjustments. Soon the boat was rapidly moving up the river. It made its first stop at the town of Claremont. Later, people gave the boat the name of the town, Claremont. It traveled the first 110 miles in just 24 hours. Fulton reported passing many schooners, so quickly that they seemed as if they were anchored. In another 8 hours, the boat arrived in Albany. The passengers gladly left the boat for dry land. They were thankful they had made it safely. Still, they told Fulton he probably couldn't do it again. Even if he could, they thought it would be unimportant to people. However, it wasn't long before Fulton's bold ideas would help popularize steamboat travel. Fulton posted a sign seeking passengers for the return trip to New York. He would charge $3, the same price as the sailing ships. Only two passengers signed up. Most people were afraid the steam boiler would explode. The crew fed a roaring fire with pine logs. The tall chimney spouted a dense stream of black smoke and a steady shower of sparks. One observer thought the boat looked like a sawmill mounted on a flat bottom boat and set on fire. The steamboat looked very different from the silent, majestic sailing ships of the time, especially at night. The crews of some sailing ships thought it was a monster racing down the river. They hid below the deck when it passed. Other people stood on the banks, waving handkerchiefs and cheering in celebration. Fulton and his passengers arrived back in New York City safely. The boat had covered 300 miles in 22 hours, 62 hours, a little more than 2.5 days. Mainstream success. Sailing ships traveled the same route in about 7 days. Gradually, people became less frightened and Fulton's business grew. People were willing to pay high prices for the quick trip on the Hudson. Land travel was slow and uncomfortable. The shifting winds and tides made sailing the river unpredictable. Within a year, Fulton's company was earning 1,000 a week, and Fulton soon became one of the richest people in the country. This is a reproduction of the Claremont, built in 1909. Basically, it's not the same original ship, but it's a reproduction. They redid it. Fulton and others improved the design of the steamboat and made them more comfortable for passengers. One steamboat towed barges that contained sleeping rooms. Before, people had slept above the boilers. With this new boat, passengers could sleep well away from the dangers of the fire. Within 15 years of Fulton's first voyage, at least 69 steamboats were churning in down the Mississippi and Ohio rivers. About 15 years after that, new steamships were designed to undertake ocean voyages. Fulton did not invent the steamboat, but he made it an economic success. Today, his first boat might be called Fulton's Triumph rather than Fulton's Folly. So that is the first passage, and I'm going to walk you through the questions. Again, you can pause them as you do them. Pause as you reread or go back in the story, which is what I would expect you to do. Number 11, It would be the first trip of its kind on a boat powered by a steam engine. Paragraph 1. Fill in the bubbles to choose one correct definition for trip and one for kind as they are used in the sentence. So you're going to look at kind and you're going to pick which one of these five are the best definition for kind and which one of these five are the best definition for trip, I believe. So like a journey, kind, trip. A stumble or fall, kind or trip, circle one. Friendly or generous, kind or trip. A group of things in the same category, kind or trip. A device that activates a mechanism, kind or trip. So you're going to, in each of the columns, you're going to pick one. Number 12, what role does paragraph 6 have in the passage? Go back to paragraph 6 and look before you answer this question. It explains how steam engines work in the early 1800s. It explains why people were hesitant to travel on Fulton's boat. It explains how consumers felt about the prices of riverboat travel. It explains why Fulton decided to charge the same price as sailboats. Again, go back to paragraph 6 and look. Pause this, go back and look, then answer it. Number 13. This has two parts. Read this sentence from the passage. The shifting winds and tides made sailing the river unpredictable. What is the meaning of unpredictable as it's used in the sentence? A, relaxing, B, exhausting, C, difficult to guess, or D, extremely dangerous. Unpredictable. Which word from the sentence supports the answer in part A? A, shifting, B, winds, C, tides, or D, river. Basically, which one of these words help you decide or help you determine what unpredictable means in this sentence up here? Okay, going on. Number 14. Which two sentences from the passage support the author's claim that Fulton's bold ideas would help popularize steamboat travel? A, the tall chimney spouted a dense stream of black smoke and a steady shower of sparks. B, the steamboat looked very different from the silent, majestic sailing ships of the time, especially at night. C, other people stood on the banks waving handkerchiefs and cheering in celebration. D, people were willing to pay high prices for the quick trip on the Hudson. Or E, Fulton and others improved the design of the steamboats and made them more comfortable for passengers. Again, your clue, two sentences. You need to pick two choices. Number 15, how does paragraph 11 show that the passage is a secondary source? We're talking secondary source. We're not talking about first and second person, first, second, third person. We're talking source, like first, the primary source and secondary sources. We talked about that at the beginning of the school year. Like primary sources would be someone who is actually involved in it. Secondary sources would be someone who is telling the story from someone else's perspective. So how does paragraph 11 show that the passage is secondary source? A, by including first-person reactions to the success of Fulton's early voyages. B, by referring to events from the past that the author did not experience. C, by providing an eyewitness opinion of why Fulton's boat should be renamed. Or D, by using numbers to give readers an idea of the scope of Fulton's business. Okay, number 16 is a race strategy, boys and girls, okay? My suggestion is we come back to this. So let's skip it for now, and we will come back to this at the end of the video, okay? Let's just keep going. Okay, we're at Robert Fulton's letters. I'm going to read it. You guys follow along. It says, Dear, this is New York, Monday, the 10th, August, 1807. Dear Sir, yesterday about 12 o'clock, I put the steamboat in motion, first with a paddle 8 inches broad, 3 feet long, with which I ran about 1 mile up the East River against a tide of almost 1 mile an hour. It being nearly high water, I then anchored and put in another paddle 8 inches wide, 3 feet long, started again, and then according to my best observations, I went 3 miles an hour. That is 2 against a tide of 1. Another board of 8 inches was wanted wanting which had not been prepared. I therefore turned the boat and run down with the tide of 1 mile, boat 3, equal 4, and turn her round neatly into the berth from which I parted. She answered the helm equal to anything that ever was built, and I turned her twice and 3 times her own length. Helm is the steering part of a boat, right there. Much has been proved by this experiment. First, that she will, when in complete order, run up to my full calculations. Second, that my axles, I believe, will be sufficiently strong to run the engine to her full power. Third, that she steers well and can be turned with ease. The sum of the surfaces of the paddles were 8 feet, the bow of the boat 9. My paddle boards should have been equal 12 feet, which I was afraid to put on at first. They are now making. The engine, having worked for the first time, requires overhauling, which means repairs, right down here, and new packing. The cold water pump for condensing, the steam was condensed or turned back into liquid and reused, is 7 inches and a 2 foot stroke, yet does not furnish sufficient cold water for complete condensation and vacuum. I'm about making it 10 inches diameter. These conditions, with the finishing of the cabins, will take me the entire week, and I shall start on Monday next at 4 miles an hour. Yesterday, I beat all the slopes that were endeavoring to stems tied with the slight breeze which they had. Had I hoisted my sails, I consequently should have had all their means added to my own. Whatever may be the fate of steamboats for the Hudson, everything is completely proof with the Mississippi, and the object is immense. Please to forward me $1,000 or $1,500 as soon as possible. Yours truly, R. Fulton. Best respects to Miss Livingston, addressed to Robert R. Livingston, Esquire, Claremont, New York, New York. And then there was a reply back. New York, October 9th, 1807. I think there's a reply back. Nope, this is just another letter. Captain Brink. Sir, enclosed, meaning included, is the number of voyages which is intended the boat should run this season. You may have them published in the Albany papers. As she is strongly manned and everyone except Jackson under your command, you must insist on each one doing his duty or turn him on shore and put away another in his place. Everything must be kept in order, everything in its place, and all parts of the boat scourged and cleaned. It is not sufficient to tell men to do a thing, but stand over them and make them do it. One pair of quick and good eyes is worth 6 pair of hands in a commander. If the boat is dirty and out of order, the fault shall be yours. Let no man be idle when there is the least thing to do, and make them move quick. Run no risks, means risks, of any kind when you meet or overtake vessels beating or crossing your way. Always run under their stern if there be the least doubt that you cannot clear their head by 50 yards or more. Given the accounts of receipts and expenses every week to the Chancellor. Your most obedient, Robert Fulton. And then down here's those 2 words, enclosed and risk. Okay. If you have to go back and read that again, you can always rewind it. Number 17 says, now answer the questions. What is the role of paragraph 1 in the first letter? A, it identifies Fulton's problem with the paddles. B, it explains the effects of the paddles have on speed. C, it shows why Fulton wanted to drive the steamboat. D, it describes how the steamboat works without paddles. What's the role of paragraph 1? Again, you're going to have to go back and look at paragraph 1. Pause it, go back and look, and then come back. Number 18, fill in the bubble before one sentence, and that supports Fulton's claim that the test run has proved that the steamboat will run up to their full calculations. So you're going to fill in a bubble before the sentence that supports Fulton's claim that the test run has proved that the steamboat will run up to my full calculations. So you're going to pick 1. A, the engine, having worked for the first time, requires overhauling and new packing. B, the cold water pump for condensing is 7 inches and a 2-foot stroke, yet does not furnish sufficient cold water for complete condensation and vacuum. C, I'm about making it 10 inches diameter. These connections with the finishing of the cabins will take me the entire week, and I shall start on Monday next at 4 miles an hour. Or D, Yesterday, I beat all of the slopes that were endeavoring to stem tide with the slight breeze which they had. Had I hoisted my sails, I consequently should have had all their means added to my own. So you're picking one: A, B, C, or D. Number 19. What is one of Fulton's purposes for writing the second letter? To tell the captain the date of the next voyage. B, to tell the captain how to manage the ship's crew. C, to tell the captain who will be aboard the steamboat. Or D, to tell the captain how he's impressed with his work so far. Part B, which statement from the letter supports the answer in part A? So which one of these supports the answer you chose up here? A, enclosed is the number of voyages which is intended the boat should run this season. B, you may have them published in the Albany papers. C, one pair of quick and good eyes is worth 6 pair of hands in a commander. Or D, given the accounts of receipts and expenses every week to the chancellor. Number 20, what are two ways in which the letters are primary sources? We're doing primary this time. Primary sources. A, they present dated information. B, they interpret factual details from the past. C, they include the author's opinions about an event. D, they were written by someone directly involved in the event. E, they are original writings that have not been analyzed or interpreted. Pick two. Okay, so at this point, this is the writing, and we're going to stop here. So I don't want you to go on to the writing of this test. You're going to do the writing. We'll do this one together when I'm with you. I think there'll be too many questions to do this. So you've done the first two passages. That's fine. Make sure you put your name up here. And then I need you to make sure you turn it into the basket by the window. So hopefully you guys are continuing to listen to the video and do what I've asked you to do. When you're done, put the test in the window in your basket, come back to your seats, and get on your Google Classroom and look at your ketchups, mustards, and pickles for today. It hasn't really changed too much, but you want to make sure you get on there so that you guys have an idea of what you guys are going to be doing the rest of the time today. I hope you guys are being respectful and kind to Mrs. Delaney, and I will see you again tomorrow. All right. Have a good rest of your day, boys and girls. Bye.